Ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise for the academic procession? Candidates for the Bachelor of Business Administration degree from the Henry B. Tippie College of Business have gathered to celebrate commencement. All are in their places. These proceedings are hereby called to order. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. I now have the honor of introducing William C. Kurt Hunter, Dean of the Tippie College of Business and Professor of Finance.
Thank you, Dean Whiteman. Good afternoon. On behalf of the Tippie College of Business and the University of Iowa, I welcome all of you, graduating seniors, family members, friends, faculty and staff of the college, to this commencement. All of us here today are proud of our university, our college, and especially today, our graduates. This commencement allows us to honor their accomplishments. We come together to celebrate and reflect upon an important milestone in the lives of these young people, the completion of their undergraduate education. Today, many emotions fill this auditorium. For our graduates, these emotions range from excitement and anticipation to uncertainty and apprehension about the future. For parents or spouses, the range of emotions include pride, certainly, and in some cases, I suspect, may also include a sense of financial relief. Before proceeding further, I would like to introduce you to the faculty, invited guests, and others joining us today to honor our graduates as they earn their college degree. Podium, please stand when I introduce you and remain standing until everyone has been introduced. Ken Brown, Associate Professor of Management and Organizations and Henry B. Tippie Research Fellow. Gary Russell, Henry B. Research Professor of Marketing. Ray D'Amata, Associate Professor of Management Sciences and Henry B. Tippie Research Fellow. Lon Moeller, Associate Dean, Undergraduate Program, and Clinical Professor, Management and Organizations. Chuck Peters, our commencement speaker, and President and Chief Executive Officer, the Gazette Company. Charles H. Whiteman, Senior Associate Dean, Professor of Economics, and Leonard A. Hatley Chair in Leadership. Jack Evans, Board of Regents, State of Iowa. Dr. Sally Mason, President of the University of Iowa and Professor of Biology in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. John Papajohn, President, Equity Dynamics Incorporated. Wallace Lowe, Executive Vice President and Provost and Professor of Law. Dale Worster, Senior Associate Dean of Academic Affairs, the Graduate College, and Professor of Pharmacy. Paul Weller, John F. Murray Professor of Finance. Joyce Berg, Professor of Accounting and Pioneer Hybrid Research Fellow. John Solo, Associate Professor of Economics and Justice International Business Fellow. Thank you for joining us today. I would also like to give special thanks and recognition to the members of the Old Capitol Brass Quintet. On horn, we have Daniel Spencer. On trombone, Jonathan Allen. On tuba, Blaine Cunningham. On trumpets, Peter Gillette and Joshua Thompson. All of these proceedings will be interpreted by Scotty Van Isaac-Ham. We are now ready to open these ceremonies with the Brass Quintet leading us in the national anthem. Please rise. Thank you. You may be seated. In 2006, the faculty of the University of Iowa voted to begin conferring honorary degrees upon individuals who have demonstrated extraordinary and sustained achievements in research, scholarship, education, artistic creation, social activism, human rights, humanitarian outreach, and other endeavors consistent with the values of the University of Iowa. President Mason, today I present John Papajohn, one of the finest human beings I have ever met, for the degree Honorary Doctor of Humane Letters. John Papajohn's contributions to the worlds of business, education, medicine, entrepreneurship, and the arts would touch generations of Iowans for decades to come. It is truly inspiring to think about how much he has been able to accomplish, given that he came from such humble beginnings. John Papajohn immigrated to the U.S. from Greece when he was just 9 months old. Growing up in Mason City, Iowa, he demonstrated his natural entrepreneurial spirit by taking on all types of work to make money and support his family at a very young age. After the death of his father when he was 16, he and his brothers cared for the family grocery store business and took turns attending the University of Iowa to earn their degrees. John knew that he wanted to start his own business upon graduation, and he did just that by establishing the Guardian Life Insurance Company. 7 years later, he sold the company and founded Equity Dynamics, a venture capital business. Since that time, he has been involved in more than 100 startups, many of which have become highly successful. His success as an entrepreneur was the inspiration for his development of 5 different John Papajohn Entrepreneurial Centers at JPECs, as we call them, in 5 different colleges and universities around the state. Because of these centers, thousands of students have learned more about what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur, and many have gone on to found their own companies. But John has done much more than that. His leadership and philanthropic efforts have supported projects in the arts, such as the new John and Mary Papajohn Sculpture Garden in downtown Des Moines. He has had an impact in the world of medicine by providing support and leadership in the areas of cancer research and care, as well as biomedical research. His efforts in these areas will no doubt have a positive impact on the lives of patients for decades. And to the Tippie College of Business, we will be forever grateful to John for his guidance and support through the years as a member of our Board of Visitors. John Papajohn has positively touched the lives of thousands of students, patients, art lovers, entrepreneurs in the state of Iowa and throughout the nation. It is for these reasons that I recommend John Papajohn to you for the Honorary Doctor of Humane Letters degree. I now ask Dale Worster, Senior Associate Dean of Academic Affairs for the Graduate College, to come forward for the conferring of this degree.
President Mason, John Papajohn is recommended to you by the Honorary Degree Selection Committee to receive the Honorary Doctor of Humane Letters, and the Graduate College is honored to present this recommendation to you for conferral of this degree.
Thank you. On recommendation of the Honorary Degree Selection Committee, I confer on John Papajohn the Honorary Degree Doctor of Humane Letters. Congratulations, John. Please come forward.
Congratulations, John. And congratulations to Mary Papajohn, who I know is sitting out in the audience, and the Papajohn family on this wonderful occasion. The Board of Regents of the state of Iowa provides administrative oversight of the university and represents the interests of the people of Iowa to the university community. It is a pleasure for us to have today with us Jack Evans, a member of the Board of Regents, to congratulate the new graduates. Jack Evans was appointed to the Board of Regents, state of Iowa, to serve from 2007 to 2013. He is currently serving as President Pro Tem of the Board and is also President of the Hall Perrine Foundation, a private philanthropic corporation in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Regent Evans earned his MBA degree from the University of Iowa in 1972 and also serves on numerous corporate boards. He's a member of the Tippie College of Business's Finance Department Advisory Council and a great friend of the University of Iowa. Please join me in welcoming Regent Jack Evans.
Good afternoon and congratulations. This is truly a great day. For the rest of your lives, the year 2010 will have a special meaning. This is the year you will receive your undergraduate business degree from the Tippie College of Business and the University of Iowa. You will soon be part of a valuable worldwide network of alumni who are having a powerful impact in the world of business. As an alum of the Tippie College, and on behalf of the 9 members of the Board of Regents for the state of Iowa, I'm very proud today to congratulate you on the completion of your degree. We believe that you will accomplish great things in your careers and in your lives, and it's our pleasure to wish you the best of luck, congratulations, and especially good wishes. Thank you.
Thank you, Regent Evans. It is now my great pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker, Charles M. Chuck Peters, President and Chief Executive Officer of the Gazette Company. Chuck earned both his undergraduate degree and his law degree from the University of Iowa, and since that time has become an instrumental business leader in the Cedar Rapids, Iowa City corridor and the state of Iowa. In his role with the Gazette Company, he oversees the Gazette newspaper, ABC affiliate KCRG TV9, Hoopla, local shoppers, and numerous online sites including corridorcareers.com, kcrg.com, and gazetteonline.com. With the changes occurring in the media landscape, there's no doubt that leading a large organization like the Gazette Company presents many challenges. Chuck Peters is prepared to confront these challenges. Much of Chuck's leadership experience was developed through his work in the appliance industry, where he served as president of Amana Refrigeration and as vice president of administration for Maytag. In addition, he has entrepreneurial experience, having served as the CEO of a startup software company and consulting company. Through it all, Chuck Peters has grown into a thoughtful and engaged leader. He serves as a director of Swift Communications, board chair of the Cedar Rapids Bank and Trust, and a trustee of Cole College. For many years, Chuck has been actively involved in the life of the Tippie College, where he serves as a member of our Board of Visitors. I note that Chuck and his lovely wife, Mary Ann, who has joined us today, are active in numerous civic and charitable organizations throughout the state of Iowa. Please join me in welcoming Chuck Peters.
Thank you, Dean Hunter. Thank you for that kind introduction, and thank you for inviting me here today. As Jack Evans said, what a great day as we celebrate all of your youthful achievements and we celebrate the lifetime achievements of John Papa John. Again, congratulations, John. Well, as Dean Hunter mentioned, I'm in the media business, which is being fundamentally transformed. Some, many, I would say, who are in that business are mourning that transformation, but I am celebrating. I think we're just beginning a great era of communication and community development. Just so I can get a sense of the audience here, how many of you here today use Facebook? For those who can't see, it looks like most. How many of here use Twitter? Not most, maybe 20, 25%, something like that. And you know, in those social media sites, people are concerned because the messages are so brief, right? They're only 140 characters. What can you say in 140 characters? So I decided, since I was told that today my goal is to be as brief as possible, that was made perfectly clear to me. So I'm going to attempt this speech in 70 characters, including spaces. So that's half a tweet for those of you who are on Twitter. Are you ready? Celebrate, thank, forget, listen, engage, commit, persist, give back, repeat. Thank you very much. Well, I appreciate the applause, but Dean Hunter said that I don't get to receive that large honorarium for just those 70 characters. So I will try to be as brief as I can and just highlight a few things here. First of all, celebrate. Celebration is natural. This is Sunday afternoon, right? So I'm thinking that some of that celebration might have already occurred. And obviously this is a milestone, one of many. Obviously celebrate it. go all out. Think. You did not get here alone. You know that. Parents, teachers, friends, and even strangers all contributed to this event. If you see them, if you can remember them, thank them. Now forget. I saw several quizzical looks when I said forget. You know, forget, what are you talking about? Forget something that I should be celebrating and thankful for? Well, not exactly. You obviously have wonderful memories of the great experiences you had here. And even if some of the constructive criticism you may have received from your professors or from your colleagues was not so pleasant, you know that you grew because of it. But when I was your age, I assumed that we were learning things that could be immediately applied to real-world problems. Now, I know that that was a long time ago, so you're much more sophisticated today than I was then. And so you realize that you have learned some tools, vocabulary, and culture that should ease your transition into the work world, but you will likely not be able to specifically apply anything that you've learned so far. In the words of Henry Tippie, assume nothing. And as he says, remember those words. Then listen. In order to appreciate what you should do in any situation, start by listening. Listen hard. Listen to what is not said. Listen to the children. Think, reflect, listen some more. Develop your hypothesis or hypotheses of unmet needs, test those hypotheses, and listen some more. And if you think you're on the right track, engage. And when you engage, you've decided on your path or your specific task, engage with your whole heart and mind. In my more than 3 decades in the work world, sometimes, from time to time, I participated in an activity in which I was not fully engaged. And I can tell you that none of those worked out. If you are fully engaged, full commitment is the natural next step. Other people can sense that commitment, and resources flow your way that you could not imagine at the outset. Persist. This is a hard one. It's a tricky one. For some of you, this day has come rather easily. You've had a great support network. You've had natural ability, and this came relatively easy to you. In at least one other case that I know of, Amy's, who we'll be hearing from shortly, great persistence was required. And I can remember in several situations in my life, I thought for sure that I was at a complete dead end, that I should cut my losses and do something else. And I also noticed that things sometimes look particularly bleak at the end of the day. And after a good night's rest, drink plenty of water, take a new look in the morning, keep going. And more often than not, some break occurs that was totally unforeseen the night before. So, my advice to you would be to keep going until it is very clear over some length of time that you should quit and pursue another opportunity. So persist. Persist with joy, persist with transparency. Persist in the things that you were meant to do that fit your personality and your desires. No one can make that up for you. No one can give you that advice. And again, as Henry Tippie says, life is not fair. Get over it. Don't blame others. Whether you succeed or fail, you'll learn something. Give back. Being Tippie graduates, you know about the 3 I's. Everybody knows the 3 I's, right? Integrity, innovation, and impact. You've participated in building homes. You've participated in the 10,000-hour show. You've participated in the dance marathon. You've done a particular program that was organized by the Tippie College. But you've been participating in this relatively controlled environment. And now you're headed out into the work world, or some of you may be delaying that for a few years, but eventually it'll be coming. And work and family will just seem to consume all of your time. So you might think you want to wait to give back. And I encourage you to think differently, because in whatever you pursue, at all times, you need those three I's. Integrity. Participating in voluntary activities is good for the soul. We're all limited, inferential processors in a quantum soup. So what do we do with our time? Well, obviously, we give to others in return for a fair exchange. We have to provide for ourselves, and we have to provide for our families. But giving to others without any expectation of return gives returns that we cannot imagine when we start. Innovation. By getting out of the relatively closed environment of your work world and joining with a diverse group of volunteers from throughout your community, you will get perspectives and insights that will better enable you to innovate, whether it's in work or in developing your community. Impact. As Dean Hunter mentioned, I was the president of Amana Refrigeration. We had worldwide operations, and so I would travel all over the world and really felt like I was visiting eastern Iowa primarily to see my family and friends and to recuperate. But that travel really impressed me. It impressed me with the assets that we have here in eastern Iowa. Assets that actually are the envy of the world, because here we have very easy access to diverse experiences and diverse living arrangements. Now, I know that in Chicago and New York and Paris and London and Toronto, places like that, there is great diversity. But there is not the easy access to that diversity, and there is not the multiplicity of living arrangements that we find right here in eastern Iowa. From the Big Ten University in Iowa City, to the new commercial city of Coralville, to the soon-to-be vibrant urban hometown on the river in downtown Cedar Rapids, to the town square of Marion. I could go on and on with all of the small towns, the ex-urban, and the deeply rural experiences that are all within a 30-minute drive here in eastern Iowa. So when I was doing all that traveling, I gave back by giving money to the United Way, to the University of Iowa, and to our church. And I think that was good, and it made me feel like I was giving back. 12 years ago, my wife Marianne and I settled on a farm just west of Iowa City, and I began to work in Cedar Rapids and Iowa City for the media company, the Gazette company that Dean Hunter mentioned. And I really became to appreciate how a media company is a hub of the community. And working for such a community, I got actively involved in several community events and several community projects and some pretty convoluted issues. And so now, 12 years later, as I walk through the communities, I'm able to see actual efforts that have come to fruition because of people gathering together as volunteers to make something happen. And that's a much better feeling than just giving money. But I'm sure Dean Hunter would want to have me remind you, giving money is okay too. And then we get to repeat. The good news is that we all have many of these cycles. Enjoy each one. Take your expanded talents and repeat with gusto. And I can sense that perhaps some of you celebrated a little too much last night. I can see it in your eyes. And so you may have lost the thread of this speech. but you can find the essence on Twitter. I'm C. Peters IA, which stands for, of course, Chuck Peters in Iowa, right? C. Peters IA. And there you'll find celebrate, thank, forget, listen, engage, commit, persist, give back, repeat. Have a great time. Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck, for those wonderful characters. At this time, we would like to recognize those students graduating with honors and academic distinction. Each year, Delta Sigma Pi awards the scholarship key to the graduating senior with the highest grade point average. This year's award is presented to Zachary Evett, who is receiving his BBA in Finance and Economics. Zachary, will you please come forward? Well, congratulations, Zach. The Henry B. Tippie College of Business awards degrees with highest distinction to students in the highest 2% of the graduating class. With highest distinction, with high distinction to those students in the next highest 3%, and with distinction to those students in the next highest 5%. As I call each group, will the students please rise to be recognized? Audience, I ask that you hold your applause until all the students graduating with distinction have been recognized. Will those students graduating with highest distinction please rise? Will those graduating with high distinction please rise? Will those graduating with distinction please rise? Please join me in congratulating these fine students. Thank you, students. You will also be recognized during the presentation of the graduates. Membership in Beta Gamma Sigma is the highest distinction a business student can earn. To be eligible for membership, students' individual academic ranking must place them in the upper 10% of their junior class or in the upper 10% of the senior class. Would the students who graduated as members of Beta Gamma Sigma please rise? Congratulations. We would also like to recognize the students who are graduating in the Tippie College of Business Honors Program. This program provides an opportunity for outstanding students to do independent research in business and to work closely with one or more faculty members. Each of the students graduating with honors has maintained a 3.5 grade point average and written a thesis relevant to their academic interest or major. The students graduating with honors today will be recognized with the presentation of the graduates.
Thank you, Dean Whiteman. Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Business Administration please rise? President Mason, these candidates, having completed all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Business Administration, are recommended to you by the faculty of the Henry B. Tippie College of Business for the conferring of this degree.
Thank you, Dean Hunter. On recommendation of the faculty of the Henry B. Tippie College of Business and by the authority vested in me by the Board of Regents, State of Iowa, I confer on each of you the degree Bachelor of Business Administration as qualified and designated. Congratulations, you did it.
Will the graduates please be seated? Lon Moeller, Associate Dean of the Undergraduate Program and Professor of Management and Organizations, and Joyce Berg, Professor of Accounting, will now recognize the graduates individually. Will the marshals please begin leading the graduates forward to be recognized?
Jeroen Korver,
Corey Wise,
Brian Anderson,
Kandran Stepanek,
Robert Boleri,
Weihong Si,
Frank Ambrosius,
Daniel Tepper,
Michael Friend,
Jeffrey Stieff,
Zach Decker,
Tracy Son,
Lauren Brazil,
Morgan Strader,
Kimberly Denley with distinction,
Allison Smith,
Mike Brooks,
Andrew Villarreal,
Elizabeth Kambilik,
John Scanlon,
Eric Anderson,
Austin Strajak,
Shay Centino,
Isaac Volz,
Benjamin Doyle,
James Thomas,
Rachel Lee Detweiler,
Chris Powers,
Casey Ann Ferrier,
Chad Yanger,
Joseph Coble IV,
Ryan Vervoort,
Christopher Clune,
Andrew Schmidt,
Adam Frank,
Daniela Tucci,
Ryan Lisak,
Andrew Chopa,
Michael A. Fiorella,
Rebecca Teets,
Brendan Folliard,
Allison Setterberg,
Katie Barnicle,
Min Vo,
Kelly Barnicle,
David Weissman,
Thomas J. Burke,
Queenly Shi,
Brian Carlson,
Thomas Vasick,
Brooke Duffy,
Albert Tu,
Justin Blakely,
Megan Skinner,
Max Anderson,
Renee White,
Kristen Coyano,
Nicholas Wagoner,
Christopher Fraser with distinction,
Alexandria Seidel,
Joseph Demmer,
Mitchell Vincent,
Janet Anderson,
Parker Thurnbeck,
Allison Kavanaugh,
William Wagner,
Mark Donald Anderson,
David Tercy,
Paulius Ambutis,
M. Nicholas Sims,
Bradford Denton III,
Carly Theisel,
Ashley Frent,
John Tomlinson.
Reed Boddicker.
Scott Seelix.
Gregory William Eftax.
Drew Spate.
Lori Barger.
Eric Sandy.
Kristen Dressler.
Curtis A. Wee.
Angela Rose Cicchini.
Daniela Zimmerman with distinction.
Alexander J. Bosco.
Caitlin Schrupp with distinction.
Jonathan Bredbeck.
Emma Schloman.
Robert Downey.
Timothy Walker.
Patrick John Patch Sabrinsky with distinction.
Jessica Statler.
Alex Chang with high distinction.
Anna Tiffany.
Dominique Deary.
Lara Walzinski.
Grant Kaufman.
Jill Schaefer.
Joseph Dickinson.
Mallory Matthews.
Kaylee Bankston.
Robin Matthews.
Mickey Damstetter.
Alyssa Sen.
Kate Breitbach.
Brian Underwood.
Andrew Augustiniak.
Sean Wandrow with distinction.
Mark Calcutt.
Kiran Murthy with distinction.
Nathan Barnes with high distinction.
Danielle Ann Protexter.
Michael Clough.
James Powers with distinction.
Molly Brow with high distinction.
Chad Nagelberg.
Danielle Adams.
Brian Lubrano.
Thomas Drake.
Sune Selibeski.
Michael Fabinski.
Tyler Silva.
Emily Dennison.
Jeffrey Verdi with high distinction.
Kai Ho Chung.
Patrick Tiro with highest distinction.
Derek Kaufman.
Candace Long.
Jessica Berger.
Kara Nelson.
Michael Decker.
Christine Williams.
Matthew Belniak.
Kristen Skoglund.
Holly Bright.
Nathan Walter.
Christopher Confer.
Ryan Sharp.
Jason Edwards with high distinction.
Pratik Tiwari.
Caitlin Carey.
Kyle Schlins.
Blaze Bennett.
Bridget Walkover.
John Robert Corbeil.
Ann Talbot.
Michael V. Dudak Jr.
Rhonda Stringer.
Brayden Drew Boomsma.
Brittany Telk.
Thomas John Comstock.
Rachel Stevens.
Adria Campbell.
Jonathan Swaim with distinction.
Ross Davison.
Carolyn Smith.
Jessica Budson.
Jennifer O'Byrne Shane.
Kyle Arola.
Amy Strandland with distinction.
TJ Anderson.
Trent Siver.
Scott Francis.
Wendy Steffen.
Michael Cooper.
Zach Sawyer.
Timothy Brash.
Michael Seamus.
Andrew Donovan.
Lauren Stolte.
Priscilla Alfaro.
Tom Stutzman.
Brittany Carter with high distinction.
Steve Vlasvich.
Kylie Figgenbutts.
Jeff Sweezy.
Justin Clausen.
William Urian.
Nick Canavo.
Neil M. Wilcox.
Eric Gregory Dodds.
Grant Steinmart.
Sam Elliott.
Trent Wilson.
Lindsay Dreyer.
Megan Thomas.
Jacob Frederick.
Megan Vandevecht.
Sean Cunningham.
Anju Suresh with highest distinction.
Mick Raphael Callahan.
Andrew Wynn.
Nicole Farron.
Will Seuss with distinction.
Adam Agnew with distinction.
Robert Salisbury.
Alexander Agnew.
Patrick Seiko.
Weston Dunlap.
John Sherlock.
Aaron Frederick.
Zacharias Soldeski.
Anna Feller.
Sarah Rose Whitesill with highest distinction and honors in marketing.
Nathan Boucher.
Haley Supple.
Joe Ferguson.
Jessica Conan.
Gabe Darrow.
Jessica Paul.
Nick Eckerman.
Andrew Sulhoff.
Dan Bloom.
Jesse Wright.
Colin Brennan.
Daniel Eric Stiles.
Matthew Cosio.
Ryan Sheehan.
Brent Boss.
Mark Mitchell Toombs.
Carl Duber.
Sean Prendergast.
Cassandra Erdmeyer.
Jeff Thompson.
Madeline Brown.
Aaron Schmidtke.
Derek Allen.
Danny Sleeman.
Bradley DeSimone.
Renee Vavrick with distinction.
Ryan Douglas.
Alex Schwark.
Patricia Lee Dean.
Brian Vasquez.
Patrick Dwyer.
Nathaniel Vori.
Catherine Fuchs.
Austin Schwark.
Andrew Burns.
Jacob Wilson.
Darren Carlson.
Catherine Ann Shell.
Matthew DeLeon.
Wei Young.
Nathan Bach.
Daisha Renee Watts.
Sean Phelan.
Ryan Nelson with distinction.
Catherine Peters.
Jennifer England.
Alyssa Albanese.
Bradley M. Vodika.
Bridget Edgington.
Nicholas Wessels.
Rebecca Pike.
Z. Shu.
Lauren Drew.
Brian Tulin.
David John Reed.
Michael Rupus.
Stephen Dovolantis.
Christopher Reese.
Jeffrey Hasmonic.
Cody Norden.
Brian Carroll.
Caitlin Ryan.
Jack Casillo.
Sarah Rawi with high distinction and honors in economics.
Shane Carter.
Jacqueline Rabus.
Ethan T. Astor.
Jonathan D. Moore.
Eric Banwarth.
Graham Laxton.
Amanda Bolin.
Brittany Page.
Nick Beitzel.
Brian Marshall.
Daniel Dietzel.
Stephen Radke.
Adam D. Franzen.
Osama Malki.
Tara Cohen.
Yoon Lee.
Macy Greiner with highest distinction.
Yeonwee Park.
Derek Eilander.
Rachel Leong.
Jeremy DeZina.
Alyssa Horn.
Randy Bruce.
Gina Pucci.
Mark Binning with distinction.
Richard Pirelli.
Stephanie Grangard.
Danny Poglacki.
Bryant Nicholson.
Eric Procaccio.
Justin Lane.
Nathan Malmquist.
Paige Hoffmeister.
Ross Newman.
Danielle Alaric.
Jeffrey Rosinski.
Melissa Lurston.
Megan Gleason.
Jessica Keller.
Caitlin Johnson with high distinction.
Matthew Kochman.
Nick Rigitano.
Jack Groot.
Mike Movil.
Alex Helmuth.
Matthew Moores.
Dan Colhagen.
Nicholas Maroney.
Zachary Evett with highest distinction.
Nathaniel Reekin.
Amelia Stout with high distinction, honors in business administration.
Jason Lane.
Eric Millard.
Frank Anthony Mamo.
Corey Keel.
John Lang.
Kellyanne Kirby.
Michael Patterney.
Megan Comis.
Derek Reisner.
Kristen Hansen.
Kyle Ortman.
Holly Heisdorf.
Brianna Lee Murphy.
Allison Harder.
Michael Magnuson.
Ashley Holdgraver with high distinction.
Caitlin Moore.
Caleb Hupp with high distinction.
Benjamin Newell.
Keegan Graham.
Greg Pappas.
Daniel Ilchi.
Alex Loveland.
Ryan Kotars.
Tommy Lee.
Christopher Kotars.
Charlie McGinn.
Matthew Jecklin.
Blake Litton.
Kristen Henneman.
Stacy Rust with distinction.
Brittany Gibbons.
Jessica Pugh with distinction.
Megan McClurkin.
Kristen Oberg.
Leslie Goldsberry.
Kelly O'Regan.
Matthew Zachary Johnson.
Tiffany Marie Bentram.
Zachary Mark Hillebrand.
Kyle Rogensack.
Jonathan Ohms.
Margaret McCary.
Vincent Kovacs.
Jack Maylander.
Christopher Cirillo.
Lacey Latcham.
Matthew Harrington.
Ann Larson.
Brandon Keys.
Joshua Patterson.
Jennifer Glick.
Timothy McLaughlin.
Brady Quinn.
John Raftis with distinction.
Sam Garnett.
Tommy McGeorge.
Colin Kilgallen.
Paul Origer.
Derek Henley.
Alex Polzine.
Andre Ha.
Ching Nagai.
Paul Holdefer.
Nikki Montag.
Stephen Jensen with distinction.
Laura Nass with highest distinction.
Reynaud Hall.
Rachel Nathanson with highest distinction and honors in economics.
Keith Garnett.
Chase Langhart.
Daniel Hopstead.
Alice Qualman.
Chris Kettering.
Patrick Gaucher.
Sean Graham.
Brian McLennan.
Kristen Knutson.
Brandon Lawbrick.
Nicole Herman.
Aditi Rajendran.
Jin Kim with distinction.
Benjamin Miller.
Honey Kim.
David Mapes.
Jason Sinchak.
Kayla Loputa.
Colin Horan.
Andrew Licar.
Brian Claren.
Eric Rath.
Scott Jacoby.
Matt Pomacala.
Jessica Jacobsey.
Jacob Moore.
Nathan Getz.
Katie Michelow.
Charlie Good.
Ashley Lawler.
Jenny Carroll.
Austin Ladd.
Matthew Kerr.
Joseph Laporta.
Dan Legling.
Cassidy Page.
Jacob Donahue Grossman.
Michael Madden.
John Hochstetter.
Josh Paulson.
Brett Kuzniar.
Nicole Moritz with highest distinction.
Heidi Kroger.
Tyler Running.
Jack Gendy.
Andrew Omenson.
Michael Kelleher.
Alex Petzel.
Leon Kung.
Matthew Paluco.
Matthew Dudek.
Allison Lamparillo.
Jade Walker Minor.
Kevin McCafferty.
Kristen Moe.
Rory Madden.
Lisa Jobs.
Jan Lin.
Medina Wen.
Anthony Markovich.
Alan James Polish.
Molly McDowell.
Michael James Rome with high distinction.
Anthony Thomas Reynolds.
Theodore Lockhart with distinction.
Jacob Rewerts.
Kelsey Kump.
Noel Lanyo.
Stephen Humke.
Joshua Pohl.
Grant Jewell.
Dave Peters.
Ethan Keishel.
Anthony Pompo.
Hannah Herzog.
Brianna Fadenhauer.
Alexia Comodine.
Ann Pitkin.
Katie Hedrick.
Adam Mader with distinction.
Amy Crush.
Monica Laverman.
Caitlin Gilski.
Jillian Mansheim with distinction and honors in marketing.
Sarah Hirschner.
Samuel Page with high distinction.
Caitlin Crowley.
Angie Othout.
Brooke Lemon.
Stacy Mead.
Lindsay Kalberg with distinction.
Jennifer Deanne Leistico with honors in management.
Calvin Kujawa.
Daniel O'Donnell.
Matt Halverson with high distinction.
Benjamin Middle.
Daniel Kim.
Brian Magnus.
Enrique Gutierrez.
Timothy Naraki.
Melissa Johnson with distinction.
Scott Pavel.
Kevin Jenkins.
Jessica Martin.
Andrew Glennon.
Peter Olison.
Zachary Kakak.
Patrick Richards.
Eunice Kim.
Tiffany Lustig.
Heather Ann Harvey.
Christina Nevins.
Caitlin Johnson.
Justin Ross.
Jason Hess.
Thomas McQueen.
Megan Hollerman.
Timothy Niehoff.
Richard Allen Geidelin.
Ben Mann.
Mary Huck.
Chris Lego.
Alexis Hahn.
Greg Middleman.
Alexandra Kanab.
Nicholas R. Litweiler.
Devin Kanab.
Nick Lang.
Tyler Johnston.
Wade Mitchell.
Alex Haler.
Megan Plumley. What's your name?
Sean Hagan.
Era Maurice.
Tyler Haynes.
Catherine Lawrence.
Stephen Cuchero.
Alex Reeder.
Sean Gorman.
Brandon Rook.
Brian Kirchner. Kyle Goro. Mark Allen Kimmick. Timothy Candle. Nikki Hoffman. Travis Jargo. Joel Gredeman with highest distinction. Philip Kreis. Kevin Longo. Joel Pfeiffer. Colleen Jemmy. Matt Johnson. Aline Therese Quinn. Stephanie Michelle Henner. Thank you. Alex Guerin. Scott Healy. Aaron Michael Jones. Thanks, Larry. Lawrence Howe. Jeff Gimo. Raymond Kipyago. Thomas Grooms. Keegan Kuhn. Brandon Yoder. Andrew Rashke with high distinction. Michael Raska with distinction. John Klusner. Mark Plummer. John Quimby. Jeffrey Ruskey. Mark Madek. Marie Krebs. Shrikant Millicane. Alex Marusarts. Jeffrey Moswick. Timothy Markham. The turning of the tassel is the traditional gesture by which each student signifies passage from degree candidate to graduate. Will each of you mark this event by turning the tassel of your hat from the right side to the left side? Congratulations. It's my pleasure at this time to introduce to you today's student speaker, Amy Stout. While attending the University of Iowa, Amy has held a position as a military intelligence sergeant in the Iowa Army National Guard. On campus, Amy has been involved in many activities, including Dance Marathon, Habitat for Humanity, the Honors Program, and the National Society of Collegiate Scholars. She is a member of the Hawkinson Institute of Business Finance, and beginning this summer will head off to Wall Street in New York for a career in investment banking. Amy today is joined by her mother, Carla Stout, and I would ask you to please welcome Amy Stout.
Thank you, Dean Moeller. Good afternoon, President Mason, Dean Hunter, distinguished guests, friends and relatives, parents, and most of all, graduates. I wanted to give a speech today that would be meaningful, engaging and not corny, but most of all, something worth remembering. I decided the best I could do is offer you what I have learned from my time here in the Tippie College of Business. The best advice I can give is take risks, because despite the negative connotation of risk after last year's recession, those will be the experiences that you will be proudest of. My greatest memories have come from stepping outside of my comfort zone and chasing an opportunity. When I was 17 years old, I enlisted in the Iowa Army National Guard. I was just out of high school and not even old enough to buy cigarettes when I was shipped off to basic training in South Carolina. If they tell you it isn't as bad as the movies, they're lying. It was my first time away from home. We operated on 4 hours of sleep a night, and I had people yelling at me every day, making me do things I couldn't do and challenging me, physically, mentally, and emotionally. I would go to bed with girls crying themselves to sleep next to me. Up until then, preseason basketball was the hardest life event I had been through. I kept thinking I would never make it for 9 weeks, but painted on our bay wall was a quote from Eleanor Roosevelt that said, "You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You must do the thing you think you cannot do." Not only did I graduate basic training, but I was the smallest girl there and ended up in the top 10% of my class. That accomplishment alone changed me. I was forced to be responsible for myself and learn how to work with others. Challenging situations teach us things about ourselves we didn't know and open up opportunities we weren't aware existed. Throughout these past 4 years, we have all faced adversity. Maybe it was finances, not knowing if we could afford all of the textbooks for next semester. Maybe it was some unexpected tragedy, the illness or death of a parent or a friend. We've seen friends and families sent to war, and we sit here today unsure of the future. I'm also certain we have discovered things about ourselves. We have made friends and maybe lost friends. We have each made memories, probably even some we want to forget. But what is most important is we have learned from it all. In 2008, I had to withdraw from the fall semester after I was in a severe car accident. I ended up in a wheelchair, and last year I had to learn how to walk again. The last thing I wanted to do was accounting homework. But despite my hesitation, I decided to go back to school the following semester. I will tell you the walk from Papa John to Schaefer seemed like 5 miles, especially with snow on the ground when the wind chill was 10 below. But I passed all of my classes and made graduation that much closer. Last semester, I also decided to apply for homecoming queen. After turning in my application, I thought, what are you thinking? You can barely walk, let alone be homecoming queen. My stomach would turn every time I thought about it, as I waited to see if I had made it to the interview round. I actually did make homecoming court, and despite my surprise, I was named homecoming queen. It was one of the proudest times in all of my 20-plus years to stand on the field at Kinnick, representing the University of Iowa and having the crowd cheering for me, and what I believe all of us on the homecoming court stood for. Love of Hawkeyes, of course, and a willingness to take on challenges and fight for something larger than ourselves. But if I had worried about it or hadn't received that extra push from a professor, thank you, Ken Brown, I would never have tried and would never have that memory, which still amazes me. Today, we should be proud of the risks we have already accepted together as a graduating class of 2010. Maybe it was choosing a finance or economics major instead of art, despite having to take exams and 22 M17 calculus. Or choosing to go out with friends. Or to stay up for 24 hours and dance the night away for the kids at Dance Marathon, despite sleeping the whole next day and not getting to the homework that was due. Maybe even getting a C in a class. But the time spent with friends will last much longer than the grades you aren't happy with, unless you're like me and will forever be haunted by your grade and stats for strategy. These decisions develop us into the people we are. Life is full of options, and if we ever think about doing something but are uncertain of success or scared because it seems hard, I say do it anyway. As John F. Kennedy said, there are costs and risks to a program of action, but they are far less than the long-range risks and costs of comfortable inaction. If you're thinking about moving away from home, but are scared to leave small-town Iowa, like myself, I say go. Try it, because you'll always wonder about what you missed. Iowa will still be here, and we can always come back home. Sometimes change is hard to think about. To be honest, I can't believe I won't have to go to class 5 days a week and spend every free moment reading a textbook, or at least thinking I should be reading a textbook, or hear any more lectures about branding yourself from Dave Collins. I would like to be able to offer some genius quote to leave you with, but I think sometimes others have said just what needs to be said. So I leave you with these words from Michael Jordan. He said, "I can accept failure. Everyone fails at something. But I can't accept not trying." Don't be scared of hard work or of failing. Be scared of what you might miss if you don't try. What I've learned at Iowa is that every fear we face and struggle we survive will only make us stronger. And eventually, the fear and struggles will pass, and what will be left is another day and another opportunity to do something that really matters. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy, for those wonderfully inspiring remarks. Graduates, today marks a personal milestone in your lives. Since you arrived on campus, each of you has worked extremely hard towards the goal you have reached today. Wearing your cap and gown, walking across this stage, and receiving your degree from the Tippie College. As you make progress towards your degree each year, you faced many challenges, made discoveries about yourselves and others, and grew into the leaders who will make a difference in our communities. For those of you in the audience, we feel your pride in these individuals. But you should also be proud of all you have done to help these individuals accomplish their goals. Your guidance, your understanding, your compassion, and your faith in their abilities, and your love and support for all of them have been critical to their success. For what you have done to help these young people, these graduates, we thank you. Graduates, before we close, I want to share a few thoughts with you. As you graduate today, your mind undoubtedly is flooded with images, memories, and emotions. Yet, as you leave the Tippie College, take with you all those powerful and positive attributes that a degree from the University of Iowa provides. First is pride. You have received a degree from one of America's leading universities. Your degree has not been given to you without careful consideration. As you enter the workforce, you will discover that what you have learned here at Iowa rivals, and in many cases may even exceed, what others may have learned elsewhere. Second is a strong work ethic. There's no substitute for hard work. As Harold Janine said, in the business world, everyone is paid in two coins, cash and experience. Take the experience first. The cash will come later. Tippie students are known for their readiness for hard work, their willingness to meet challenges, and their ability to overcome adversity. As Tippie students, you have demonstrated this work ethic daily. As graduates, take this work ethic with you as you enter the next stage of life. It will serve you well. Third is compassion. Today, many of you may have reached the end of your academic journey. Eventually, we all will reach the end of our journeys. When your professional journey is over and done, remember that what really matters are the relationships you develop and nurture, the people you touch, and the lives you affect. Remember those who have helped you, influenced you, and played a role in your success. We hope that in the years to come, you will remember fondly your time here at the Tippie College and support the institution generously, and I reemphasize generously, as those alumni who have come before you have. We're very proud of the Tippie College's class of 2010. In addition to being talented academically, you have demonstrated leadership, community spirit, and a global sensibility. You are indeed ready to be successful citizens of the world. Graduates, as you leave today, I encourage you to remember these words from Williams Jennings Bryan. Destiny is not a matter of chance, it is a matter of choice. It is not a thing to be waited for, it is a thing to be achieved. This concludes today's commencement ceremony. I ask that everyone please remain seated for the recessional. The platform party will first exit, followed by the graduates. Thank you.